Yeah.
My grandfather was designing Hanon surf ads, like
Yeah.
the bungers, the you name them. Like there's thousands of Fauses,
Yeah.
like even like you go back to like Ricky
Oh yeah, the
Rasmussen. I
Fauces,
mean, Ricky
man.
was one of
Jeez.
the national champion from New York, one of the best surfers. If you ask Jerry
The
Lopez, one of the best
OG.
surfers ever to surf pipe. So I feel like sometimes it's just the New York surf culture is like growing so fast that sometimes they lose focus of like the heritage
The
of it.
history.
Jeff Anthony, first ever New York City surfer to win East Coast Surfing Championships from Rockaway. Like, half of
Yeah.
Rockaway that lives there now doesn't even know who he is or what he does, and it's because he's a quiet dude, but he's amazing, and he's such a solid dude
Yeah.
and represents his hometown. And like, there's just a million of these stories, and it's cool that you dig up some of this stuff because there's such a heritage of thousands of families of surfing in New York, like and it's
Dude,
rad. Yeah, the
Icons. How
Icons,
about the
definitely.
Icons?
I
God,
looked up to
like
Eric.
Gums is named after
Yeah,
Don Icon,
yeah.
man. Like,
Thank you, Thomas Brookins, for telling that
yeah,
story. If you haven't seen Fire and
seriously.
Water, you should go watch it now.
It's a
Yeah,
great,
like if
great
anybody's
movie,
watching
people.
this, like turn it off and go watch Fire and Water because
It's
that Gums, the wave next to Pipeline, is named after a New York surfer, Dom Icon, and that's just legendary.
legendary. It's cool, and then like, so that actually is a really nice pivot to you carrying the tradition of like New York Chargers, because a lot of people don't realize that New York has a history of big wave surfers and people who love to charge big waves. Like we just mentioned, Ricky Rasmussen, Don Icon. There's a lineage here, and you've had a little bit of a winter. Considering it's COVID, you still had a couple magical days, I think. So I want to kind of touch on these a little bit before we go. Like you were at I'm sorry, not Pat Mavericks. Blah.
I was at Mavericks. Yeah.
Nazare. You were at
Nazare
Mavericks
first.
too. Jeez.
I've been shifting
Yeah.
gears a little bit. Driving safety. So a lot of my trips have to be doing with driving safety, and then I'm also getting my
Yeah.
waves. So went to Nazare, drove safety for Garrett and Mason Barnes and Andrew Cotton, and then got a few waves, and then that was the biggest I've ever seen. I know I say this every year, but that was the biggest I've ever seen the ocean in my life, and it was gargantuan.
Give our listeners like just a brief
8-story building.
To be the rescue person is, I think, scarier than being the rider.
Well, when you're driving safety,
because you're like, oh, I gotta go
so
in.
I'm in the inside, like that's my position, and you just when it's at that size, you can't, when you're coming in with rescues, there's a no miss policy. You can't miss your pickup. You can miss pickups in other places around the world, but Nazare, if you miss, like,
that's life or
death. And there was a couple wipeouts that day were very like, I almost ran Mason Barnes over after one of his wipeouts because he looked like he got knocked out, how hard he hit and skipped down the face. So I was like, I'm going to scoop this guy up. So I'm coming in and I could just see the blackness of him. I can't see if he's knocked out or not. And I'm coming in hot and I'm like, I got to graze him. Because if he's knocked unconscious, I got to grab him and still have my hand on the throttle. So there's like a strategy where you're not hitting somebody, but you're like, you're got the gunnel like right up against their back. You're grazing them so that I can literally just reach down and grab his vest and throw him in the gunnel and buzz out of there. And I like came in and like got super close. And thank God he was still like up, but he was like, it was a close one. And got out of there right before the next wave. Like we literally had like a second to spare. So
that's I mean, like seriously, you must have nerves of steel because like I would just be like, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up. Oh, Tyler, you just fucked it up.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what goes through your head the whole time. Don't miss, don't miss, don't miss. You know, I've been driving skis for 17 years now, and they really are just the extension to my surfing now, and people trust me with their lives in the highest level of the sport, and I take a lot of pride and professionalism to what I do on a ski and safety wise, and yeah, when it's game on, like I just, it's time to just, tap into my experience and handle it. I mean, things go wrong. I haven't lost a
Yeah.
ski yet.
That's better than Kai Lenny.
I mean, I haven't. I've had situations that were close, but I haven't lost one yet. So, but anyways, yeah. So I don't know. So they did the Nazare session. That was sick. I ended up getting a few at the end of the day that were pretty magic. And then the month later, we went to Oregon. I trained Ben Gravy, and then my friend Austin Gibbons from New York. And then got them some waves. And then at the tail end of that swell, Ben left, and then me and Austin got the second swell was like massive, and we were out there alone with just the locals. So that was amazing. And then
was that like Lincoln City area?
I don't think people watch this, but not like that. Like I know people watch this, but I don't know about from over there. But I'm not trying to get in trouble, Yeah. But anyways, yeah. I mean, it was in the middle of the ocean, bro. There's fucking great white sharks everywhere. It's like, it will take care of itself. But
yes.
But yeah, so Oregon was amazing. It was a great week of training and surfing, and it was just like the best run of waves I've had there in maybe 15 years. So that was cool.
Wow.
And then that led kind of right in
the swell of all swells
Mavericks,
in the North
Mavericks
Shore.
First, and then that Mavericks was like a week of waves. Ended up getting smoked pretty bad by that one giant day trying to paddle. And, that was vicious. That was probably the worst beating I've had in almost 10 years. Just had a clean upset land right in front of me on that giant day of Mavericks. So that sucked. And then,
sucked.
But I got some waves, the following day. That day I just literally got smoked. I didn't get any waves. I got offered a chance to tow, and I was just hard headed. I just wanted to paddle one, and it just didn't come my way.
Do you still like? I see a lot of I see photos of you surfing Mavericks, mostly the rights. Do you go on the left often? I was just reading New Surfer's Journal about surfing the left at Mavericks and all that, and it was just kind of curious. Like, seems like there's like a whole crew now trying to really tackle
the
that
young
left.
kids at Mavericks. They're
John Mel, Peter Mel's
and then
son,
the local kids from Half Moon Bay High School. They have been attacking the left like beyond like you wouldn't, like, it was insane. But this wave is March 16th 2019 of me on the left at Mavs.
Yeah, here we go. That's the famous one. Yeah, that's like ridiculous. Are you kidding me? So our listeners, if you go to Will Skudin's Instagram, Whitewater Willie, there's a shot of him just getting fully pitted and throttled.
You come from behind it, kind of, and you just got to knife it. But I mean, that was just. I wanted to go left for 10 years, and I just scared. Straight up, just scared. I can remember hunt. So I finally pulled the trigger in 2019.
What is
started going left? So
what's scary about it? Like, is it just because there's no channel?
No, there's a channel.
Or just
you
because
just have
of
to
the way
commit
it breaks?
to knifing a slab that's 30 feet. Like, it's just like and
no
sometimes
shoulder hopping there?
You can't shoulder hop because the shoulder is what's pitching, so you have to come from behind it. So you don't know if it's going to do it or not. So like you're just like using your experience and hoping for the best. So yeah, man, it's a fucked up line, and I got the ones that I've like dreamed of getting in my personal life, like, and I'm happy, and I'll definitely go out there and surf it again with the boys, but I'm content with a few lefts that I got to get barreled on the left at Mavericks, and that's something that was haunting me for years. So I was just happy to get a couple, and even this year I went left on a few. So yeah, they're out there, but the boys, the young kids now coming up, it's just it's incredible to watch the camaraderie and just like how much they love the sport, because there's no real business in it right now, as far as like world tours or like really any sponsorships available at any high level. So they're doing it because they love it. So that's kind of where we all started. Like, there was no tour or any of that stuff. Like getting paid to do any of it was like such a long shot. So it's kind of cool. It's like they're going back in time where, they're just they have to do it because they love it, because there is nothing really there's no meat on the bone right now. So that's kind of cool to see, like, these crew of young kids are just like sparring basically just for the love of big wave surfing. So it's pretty rad to watch.
Awesome. So then after Mavericks, North Shore, freaking swell of all swells.
Yeah, I only got a few waves that day. Drove safety and towed people into a bunch of waves. Towed my friend Tom into a bunch of waves. Tom, man, like, that's crazy. Like, you told Tom Warney, who, he's a good surfer. Like, he's been living out there for a while, so he took his knocks, like, nice. Like, he isn't the most technical surfer in the world, but he is trained up enough to where I know he can handle the worst case scenario. And it has nothing to do with how good you surf. If you can handle the worst case scenario, then it's game on. If you can't handle the worst case scenario, you could be on the CT. If you can't handle the worst case scenario, then I don't really want to be with you on a jet ski. So he can. So he's very qualified to be where he was that day, and it was time for him to let go of the rope.
Him and Ben Gravy too.
Yeah, Ben was out there with Jamie, and that was cool to see, because me and Ben went through the 101 in Oregon and some other times, and to see him implementing that. I know he had a bum knee that day, so he definitely got some waves, but you could tell he was a little bit like, he definitely feels like he could have done better if his knee was doing better.
Could have done better, Could have just taken, instead of a 30-foot wave, could have been 35 or
Well, there's a performance level for toe and surfing,
I know.
Right? So, and then I got to tow Balaram into a bunch, so that was sick.
That was awesome.
And then Titus McNamara, Garrett's son, got to tow him into a few, and then a couple other guys. Like, I just ended up hooking some people up with some waves, and then I ended up getting a couple. So that's dope.
Did anyone ever find out who the person was that launched the rocket ski?
I think it was that kid, the photographer from the East Coast. Last name Moss. Yeah.
Really?
So he's
crazy.
He's healing up. He broke his back, but no spinal injury, so thank God. And that was I was out there, like, not at that moment in time, but I was in that lineup probably 10 minutes earlier. We left a little bit before that, but I never seen nothing like that. He's just, thank God he has his life still. That could have been really bad.
Yeah. Well, before we go, because we've got some time limit issues here, but before we go, let's let our listeners know, where can they go to sign up for Skudin Surf, for the American Dream Wave Pool, and how should they navigate this, and how do they get there from the city?
You just drive in, take an Uber in, or there is a bus that goes to the Port Authority, I think. And there are other buses and other ways they're working out now to get to American Dream Mall.
15 minutes, right?
I mean,
20 minutes.
I'll look at it right now. I'm here right now. So so just that's kind of been the easiest way in, has been either bus or here you go.
And I'm looking, and it says 18 minutes on Google Maps.
So I'm here right now, and that's the Penn. So if you were to just step foot in the city on the west side, it's probably like 14 minutes or 12 minutes. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's less than 20 minutes away from Penn.
It's quicker to go there than to go to Rockaway if you live in Manhattan.
Pretty much. So. And the beautiful thing about it is we're in the off hours. So, like, if you are coming from Long Island or other places, like, you're driving not during any traffic time.
Rush hour. That's
been really cool. People are getting from, like, Long Beach or Rockaway to the pool in less than 45 minutes. So, so that's been amazing. Yeah, people are like, I couldn't believe it. I got here so early. I set myself up for an hour. I hear this all the time, and I got here in 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I was like,
so go shop. There's a mall right there.
But it's closed when you show up. But
true.
But that's the cool part about it, right? You're walking through a mega mall alone with just your friends. You get this whole place to yourself. Like, it's a magical moment just because you don't really have to share it with anybody.